Good day, everyone. So today I want to make another tutorial for you guys, this time on the GIMP. Now if you don't know what the GIMP is a Photoshop like tool where you can edit your own pictures, create artworks such as the ones you see here. It's a really powerful tool, and once again it is 100% free, just like Blender, under the GNU GPL public license. Alright, well I'm in a really good mood today, so I'm going to be energized during this tutorial, hopefully. So before we get started on what I'm going to show you today about the GIMP is we're actually going to make a desktop background. So you can see I have one here. And first thing we need to do is find what the resolution is of your desktop. So right click, go to screen resolution if you're on Windows. If you're on Mac or Linux, you find the equivalent. And you can see I have my resolution set to 1600 by 900, and that's my recommended specs, which is very good quality. So what we need to do is go into GIMP and create those. Now first of all, I want to show you what I've done with a few already. So I have this image here. It wasn't for my desktop, and I'm just going to go layer by layer and show you what each layer shows. So we have the first layer here. This is the base, and you just get these layers from these types of images from the filters menu. You can just use random filters. Then we have a second layer here. You can see it adds a little more effects. And as we go through, this one's difficult to see, but there is something there. And then we have this final layer here. So after we add all those together, we get this final image, and you can even go under this mode here, and that will change the effect it has on it. And another example I have here. This is what I have for desktop background. And just turn off all layers here. Okay, so the first layer I have this, which once again was just achieved by a filter. Second effect is this little one here, and then third effect. And I actually did a little bit of reconstruction on this because I noticed it made a sort of heart shape. It was kind of just a bulge. So what I did was I actually took a lasso tool and made it more heart-shaped, just for the fun of it. I thought it looked pretty cool. So then you just add everything together, do a little effects on it, and you can see, with the individuals layers, you can see the effects they have. And they have little effects on here. You can see grain extract. Change this. I changed this to burn, and then this one's normal because it's the bottom, which doesn't really affect if you change it, as you can see. So with that all said and done, let's get started. So what we're going to do is just go File, New, and I have a preset 1600 by 900. Go to Advanced Options and Fill with Transparency. So this is our background. This is our base image. So what we're going to do is just go into Filter, Render, and we want to go to Fractal Explorer. This is a really cool tool. This allows you to make really cool fractal images like this, and they even give you a bunch like you can see energetic diamond, beauty of nature, high voltage, ice crystal. There's a bunch. I like that high voltage one, so let's go with that. And then we have different ways to color this. We can have a color mode as specified above, which takes the red, green, blue, and I'm guessing it does some kind of calculus because it has sine, cosine. I'm pretty sure that's a calculus or trigonometry type function. I'm not quite sure. And it'll take that, and you can see it changes the color. If we change red to cosine, let's see, green to sine, blue. So also put that to cosine. You can see what it does. Just play. You can play around with it. Or what we can do is go Apply Active Gradient to File Image. So if we click this gradient button here, this little Fractal Explorer gradient thing pops up, and you can search for a gradient if you know what exact one you want. But what I do, since who really has time to remember all these? You really just have to go through and go, oh, there's a good one. Actually, that's not too bad. We can choose different ones. But I like that dark one. And then we have different parameters here. So let's just increase the, play around with these iterations here, make it a little brighter. This CX and CY just moves the little fractals around, as you can see. And let's just put it right there. Then this just moves it, as you can see, these little sliders, top, bottom, top, right, left. And then this fractal type, I wouldn't play it too much. It changes it quite a bit, and usually the default I have is quite nice, which is well, it's different for each fractal, I do believe. So right now it says Julia, which we'll go with. And then we click OK. And this creates an awesome looking fractal for us. So here's the little gradient it has. Let's just go back to our layers button here. And bam, we are partway done. So what we're going to do now is add in a new layer. And you can name this if you want. I'm just going to name it, let's see, clouds. Then what we're going to do is filter, render clouds, of course. And let's choose a fog type. Wait for this little thing to pop up. Here we are. And this actually does create a new layer for you, but I always create a different layer for it just in case. You never know when there might be bugs in the program. Although this is a pretty stable program. So we could use color theory to pick a good color to go with it. And since it's red, let's go with something like a little lighter than that. Yeah, something like this. Then we can choose the turbulence and opacity. Let's turn the turbulence up just a bit, 2.6, 2.5. And click OK. And if we just turn these layers off, let's just delete this one where it says cloud. You can see what that looks like, you know. And if we add two layers together, it looks pretty decent. So here's without the clouds and with the clouds. Now, what we can do to make it a little bit more interesting is we have a bunch of blending modes here. And what these allow you to do is blend two layers together a certain way so it can appear different. So right now it's on normal. So I go dissolve. You can see it becomes staticky looking. And we can actually just use the scroll wheel to go through it and find whichever one we think works best. So we just scroll through, just go, oh, that looks good. And as you can see, some of them do quite a lot of difference. Like this increased the red, you can see. And yeah, just keep going through it if you want. And I think which one was it? Right here, this lighten only. Let's go screen. Screen's good because it brightens that out a little bit. You can see a slight difference. And let's add one more effect. Let's just call this one effect because it can be really anything under. There we go, filters here. And once again, render. This renders out any one of these you want. And let's render out a line nova. Now, what this allows you to do is, well, it just renders out a bunch of lines, as you will see. So let's change the number of lines to something like 75. Don't need too many. Sharpness, which is in degrees, is how much they're turning, I do believe. So let's turn it up to 15. Offset raise we'll leave at 100, and then randomness. Let's put in a random number like 21. And then we click OK. And it will now create a strange looking image for us. And there it is, our little effect. Now what we can do is we can actually, since it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to, let's just undo it. Once again, just go under your line nova. And I guess we might want to keep this at 1. Maybe that's the reason why it didn't do the full screen. It usually does, but yeah, a bit strange. So yeah, now it does the full screen. So what we'll do now is just take this one layer, and I do believe this is under color, and we can go color balance. So let's work in the shadows. Let's change up the cyan. Oh, it's strange. Appears to not want to work. So let's just do that one last time. This usually works, but I'm using an older version of GIMP, not the most stable version. Oops, that was Fractal Explorer. Line nova. There we go. Let's just change this degrees here to 3. And let's see. Don't have a color option, but I do believe the color set by this. So let's change the color to this. And click OK. No? Alright, anyway. That's actually good though. That's how we have it. So sometimes you just gotta play around with the settings to find something you like. So let's just scroll through if we find type of blend mode we like. And let's go with divide, and you can see it does quite a bit. You can even rearrange these layers to create different effects. And for some reason it does not want to rearrange. So anyway, so you can even go with addition, subtract. So yeah, just find a one that works for you for what you're trying to go with. So for example, if you want like a black and white but see how the middle is blue, that's one thing you could do. And what I actually want to do is invert this layer's colors. So if we just go under invert, it will invert that for us, only that layer, because we only have that one selected. And this will allow us to really just change up the way it is. So instead of being a black type image, you can see now the difference is quite different. So we just invert that one more time, you can see. So yes, make sure it's to white, and that will help out quite a bit. Actually, grain extract looks like it's the one we need. So now finally we're going to go to curves, and we have different channels we can play with here. And basically these channels allow us to offset each RGB color individually. So value is just how bright it is, which doesn't seem to be affecting it too much. The red channel just affects the red, but and since this is a black channel, it doesn't do too much. So let's just go alpha, and this will usually have a good effect, but for some reason it does not want to, which is strange. I've used it on other images and they usually work perfectly. So edit settings, this curve there. We're on this background layer now, so let's just go to the red channel. Let's just increase that slightly. We do it in different places, it will give a greater effect. So we can have it certain red levels, as you can see from this little slider here. The higher red it is, that's where this is being edited, and the lower the red, or closer to black, it's down here. So that's keep that to the side. That's looking decent. We can go to the green, and it does have a bit of green in the light, so you can make that look a little bit yellow, kind of represent fiery type stuff there. If you play around with the blue channel, you can make it purple, because you know red and blue, purple there. So color theory comes in handy when using these curves. And let's just go to value and just brighten that up slightly. It does take a while to get used to using these curves, but once you know how to use it, you know it can be quite a handy tool. So you'll go to these clouds here and do the same thing under curves. And you want to do is go straight to blue and really want to amp that up so we can see it. Go under the green channel. Can't have blue without a little bit green. So yeah, this curve editor works on regular pictures as well. It allows you to say color correct just simple pictures, which I might show you in a layer tutorial. Alright, and there you have it. That is now random looking background you can use for your PC, or you know, you can just make random pictures with it, and it gives really interesting effects. I might have a few examples here to use the naming conventions, like shiny background. Yeah, this one was just like a swirling type vortex. You've seen this one. This one was probably my favorite. It was a really fun project to work on. And then I had this want to call random because it was really just I used random values for everything to create that one. So yeah, those are some of the images you can create. So this could probably use a little bit more work in the curves. You know, maybe it's a little bit too yellow there, so you can just go into colors and colorize, maybe to the green, and wrong layer, background layer. Here we go. Curves, green, maybe lower them, go to the blue, and maybe actually increase that ever so slightly. Back to the green. Just go back and forth, play with these settings. So yeah, and then when you're ready to save, this is a problem a lot of GIMP users find a little bit annoying. If you click Save As, it's actually going to save it as an XCF file, which is Photoshop has PSD, Blender has .blend, and .xcf is actually for the GIMP photo saving. But if you actually want to save just the picture, you go Export, and this will export to an image file of your choice. I have a default set to PNG, so you can do it in many different image formats. You know, yeah, you can save it as a GIF image or GIF. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. JPEG, Windows icon, Open Raster, which you can open up with MyPaint or other Open Raster programs, Photoshop image, PNG, etc. So there we have it. That is basically an introduction to GIMP, a little bit of how to make an interesting looking background there. You can just turn some of these effects off and show you what they look like. And then we turn them all back on, and that's the final product. Now once again, you could switch up how these layers are set. For some reason it doesn't want me to. It might be because I changed the theme of it, which I'll show you how to change the theme in a later video. So that is all for now. I hope you learned a thing or two. Hope you all have a good day, and thank you for watching.